today's video, basically we're going to be working on the HVAC system of the El Camino. And if you remember from the last video, we made the decision to go to an aftermarket, actually a vintage air unit. I've tried a few other ones on this car and none of them worked, but bottom line is we are 90% of the whole bottom's ready for paint. 50% of the interior floorboard is ready for paint. We still got some prep work to do, but it's looking pretty good. And at this point, I want to get this all mocked up and get the heater box built for the HVAC, the new system. Because basically, this is the old one, the monster unit. And this here is it's an actual mock-up unit. It's pretty cool because it's nice and light. You don't have to worry about beating it up. Use your actual AC system when you're mocking things up. And this car needs serious mock-up because trying to make this unit work on a 45-degree angle, we actually have to do some modifications here, plus the whole cowl system up top. But you can see the difference in the size between, this is a Gen 4 vintage air AC unit that we're going to use, and it's the only one that would work. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, but you can see the difference in the size. All this was out in the engine compartment. All that's going to be cleaned up. And then you got your, the reason I wasn't sure we're going to do this, but we're doing it. This is the whole cowl system of the car. We basically are going to have to cut this off and clean this up and do some fiberglass work to this to make it look right and get it all happy with the cowl. Good to go there. Get rid of all this, get rid of all that. Should be interesting, but that's what we're looking at. But with this vintage air unit, this is pretty cool because I got a different mock-up unit, and every aftermarket AC unit out there is just a big square box. And this one actually has a cutout, kind of like a normal factory system. And that's what's enabling us to be able to use this. Even though it's the biggest unit, it's the widest and the longest. It has this cutout right here, and we're gonna be able to get that in there. I just gotta bring it out some, get it out forward more, because when you're doing a job like this, everything comes into play. We got the cowl itself, we got the dash. It's gotta be able to clear the glove box, and I don't want to cut or modify this in any way, so I'm going to make this work in the dash. Just depends on how far out we got to come. Not that big a deal, just a lot of custom work. But this is going to go in here and stick out here, and then we're going to build a heater box that'll accept the cowl, go all the way down. And as you can see, this thing needs to go down some. So I'm gonna have to cut and modify the body here to be able to lower this down and move it out. And so far, all the measurements I've been taking, I've been racking my brain over and over, a couple hours of thinking before I cut anything, and I think it's gonna work. The game plan is intact, and we're just gonna go for it here soon. But stick around if you ever want to do anything like this, especially on El Camino, because this is no joke. It's not just like a flat firewall on an old 37 Pontiac or something. A lot going on here, but we're going to make it work. Like I say, this is the only unit we can use. They said this thing's good for up to a station wagon size, and being a two-seater El Camino, it might even be a little overkill, but all you got to do is turn the temperature knob up if it gets too cold. So this thing ought to be money. So we're just gonna get to it and make it happen. Okay, at this point, we have everything torn off this car. The bad news is the garage is trashed. There's no room, there's no walking room, there's no room to work. It is what it is. We're making it happen, we're making do. But at this point, the car can only start coming back together, but it had no more tear down to do, more or less. So that is the good thing, or the bad thing as far as the garage goes. the good thing is we're completely torn down and ready to start going back together with this car. So we're basically gonna get this all mocked up, get this all prepped, and we're gonna spray the whole underneath and the firewall all at one time, and then spray the interior right after we do the whole underneath. So we're looking good. Just got to keep on getting it. A lot of work, but it is what it is. Okay, a couple things I didn't mention here. We actually have this this bracket I already took off, but that was bolted down right in there. And that's where the fender well bolts to, right here. So we also have to take that into account. I'm not too worried about it, but that definitely limits how far out we can come. So jobs like this, they generally turn into 1/4 inch clearance here and there. But as long as you got the right clearance and everything works, no big deal. So that should work out. One thing I did with the spot welds, I didn't damage this at all, taking it off. I drilled the spot welds just a little bit, and then I was able to use a hammer and chisel and just knock it off instead of beating the crap out of it, getting it apart. So it's a pretty cool tip. Just drill the spot welds, not all the way through, but almost, and then just be able to knock any piece of metal off that has a spot weld like that. So that worked out there. Tools. We got the plasma cutter. Not completely necessary, but that thing's gonna make things life a lot easier trying to do this job. And then we got the metal brake, which I wouldn't even attempt this job without an actual metal brake. This thing is old school, but it still just works like a champ. No worries there. Got the bender. And then we're basically gonna make this flat sheet of steel the heater box. So stick around, let's get to it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video at this point. And the next video is basically be the entire mock-up of the heater box, but just to give you guys an idea of what we're in for. And if you're interested in this, stick around. The next video will be the whole heater box getting done. Thanks for watching, take care. Happy New Year. Let's do this.